The sound of rain hammered against the pavement as a single dad named Jack Foster tightened his worn-out jacket, waiting outside the community center. He had just finished his shift as a mechanic, grease still on his hands, when two little girls suddenly ran out of the alley across the street, drenched, terrified, and crying. "Please, sir. Our mom's dying. Help us," one of them shouted through tears. Jack froze. The girls couldn't have been more than 7. They were trembling, barefoot, clutching each other as if the world had fallen apart. Jack didn't hesitate. "Where is she?" he asked, his deep, calm voice carrying an authority that immediately made them trust him. The twins pointed toward an old car parked beside the road. Inside, a pale woman lay slumped against the wheel, barely breathing. He rushed over, pulled open the door, and instantly his military instincts kicked in, instincts he had promised himself never to use again. Her pulse was fading. "Stay with me, ma'am," Jack murmured as he tore open her jacket, finding a faint scar near her ribs, a recent surgery wound, possibly infected. He grabbed his old first aid kit from his truck, working quickly, efficiently, like a man who had done this 1,000 times before. He cleaned the wound, stabilized her breathing, and performed a field technique most paramedics didn't even know. Within minutes, the woman gasped for air. Her eyes fluttered open, and she whispered weakly, "My girls, they're safe," Jack said, his voice steady. The twins clung to him, their tears mixing with the rain. Within moments, sirens echoed in the distance. When the ambulance arrived, the medics froze watching Jack's work, precise, controlled, life-saving. One of them muttered, "Who are you, man?" Jack just gave a faint smile. "Just someone who's seen worse." At the hospital, the twins refused to leave Jack's side. Even after their mother was taken in, they held onto his sleeve as if he were their only anchor. When the doctor came out, his expression was stunned. "If you hadn't acted when you did, she wouldn't have made it," he said. "You saved her life." That's when the truth began to unfold. The woman's name was Evelyn Hartman, CEO of Hartman Industries, one of the most powerful companies in the city. And those twins? Her daughters, Lila and Emma. The same Hartman Industries that had once downsized hundreds of employees, including Jack himself, years ago after he returned from military service and struggled to rebuild his life. Fate, it seemed, had an odd sense of timing. The next morning, Jack tried to slip out quietly. But the girls spotted him from the hospital window. "Dad Jack," they shouted. That's what they had started calling him. The word dad hit him deep. He turned, waved once, and kept walking, wanting no attention. But by the afternoon, everything changed. A black car pulled up outside his small garage. Evelyn Hartman stepped out, looking far stronger, her eyes filled with gratitude and something else, guilt. "Mr. Foster," she said softly, "you saved my life. And I believe fate brought you here for a reason." Jack shook his head. "You don't owe me anything. I just did what anyone would have done." She smiled sadly. "No, not anyone could have done what you did. My security chief reviewed your actions. You used advanced battlefield medical techniques, something only an elite combat medic would know." "You were military?" "U.S. Army. Special Rescue Unit," he said quietly. Evelyn took a step closer. "Then maybe you can help me with something more than saving my life." She explained how her company had been infiltrated by people she trusted, partners who were sabotaging her projects, leaking data, and threatening her safety. She wanted to hire him, not as a bodyguard, but as her head of security. Jack refused at first. He didn't want to go back into that world, a world of command, conflict, and pressure. But then he looked down at the twins standing beside her. They looked up at him with those same hopeful eyes from that rainy night. "Please, Dad Jack," they said together, "don't go." And in that moment, he realized he had already found something worth fighting for again. From that day forward, Jack became more than just an employee. He became part of their family. He trained the security team, uncovered the mole within the company, and even helped rebuild Evelyn's trust in people again. Slowly, laughter returned to her home, mostly because of how Jack would fix things for the twins, build treehouses, and teach them little lessons about bravery and kindness. Months later, during a company event, the truth about Jack's heroism came to light. Evelyn stood before a crowd of reporters, her voice trembling with emotion. The man who saved my life, my company, and my daughters isn't just a veteran. He's the definition of honor. She turned to him, tears in her eyes. Jack Foster, thank you for reminding us what real heroes look like. The crowd rose in applause. Jack, standing beside the twins, simply nodded and whispered, I was just doing what needed to be done. As the event ended, Evelyn approached him privately. You changed our lives, she said softly. But I think, you've also found a home here, haven't you? Jack looked at the twins running around, laughing, and then at her. Yeah, he said with a small smile. Guess I have. The story of the single dad veteran who saved a CEO and her daughters spread everywhere, from news networks to social media. But for Jack, none of that mattered. What mattered were the quiet mornings when the twins would run into his arms, calling him Dad Jack, and Evelyn's grateful smile from across the table, because sometimes, heroes don't wear capes or uniforms anymore. Sometimes, they wear old jackets, smell of motor oil, and carry invisible scars, but hearts big enough to save the world of those who need it most.